Hello class, my name is Felipe Prado Garcia and this is my week 7 PowerPoint presentation. The article that I chose for this presentation is From Red Tape to Results, Creating a Government That Works Better and Costs Less. This article was presented by the National Performance Review, and it was first introduced by President Bill Clinton back in March 3rd, 1993. So basically what this article entails is creating a government that's cheaper and more efficient. Um, it focuses a lot on the national debt and how much that debt has been increasing over the years. As of today, it is estimated that the debt is exceeding $4 trillion, which is approximately $16,000 for every man, woman, or child in the country. Um, so, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. So basically, what needs to be done is figuring out what is the root of the problem and how to create a long-term investment for change. How does bureaucracy create a problem like this, and what government services need to be cut down, reduced, or changed in order to create a better budget for the federal government. The peer review article that I chose, or that I found to be more informative in regards to this article, is called Access America: Re-engineering Through Information Technology. Um, what this article provides is insight on how the NPR, or the National Performance Review, provided recommendations as to how to save money. And one of those recommendations was to reduce the federal workforce by nearly 200,000. So that means firing 200,000 federal employees from various agencies, from various employments. What this would do, what it would do is weaken those agencies, which would later on create a national security issue. Depending on the agencies that are being cut off. For example, something that's going on today, and how this article and this journal both relate, is that we are currently going through several government shutdowns right now, or in this current administration, and what it has caused is that one side, or one party, wants to defund an agency, and the other party wants to increase funding for that agency so that they can continue operations. This has caused a lot of back and forth, but it goes back to the budget, and how they want to allocate money for the budget, and how can they reduce spending, which is something that the new administration that came into government, or into presidency, enacted um, immediately, was to reduce government spending um, by looking for areas within the government that's considered waste, or that's considered not essential. The next article that I chose from the Shafrick's books is called Unmasking Administrative Evil. What this article focuses on is ethics, and how ethics are applied during public services, or when dealing with public services, and how sometimes trying to do a service to the public can lead to evil acts. For example, war, or for example, the most devastating one would be the Holocaust, when that government thought that they were doing a public service by removing a whole ethnic group. And it is fair to assume that both public and private organizations have to depend on some level of ethical judgment in order to maintain some type of efficiency, um, when dealing with their services, and also has to be done in an effective way in order to maintain uh, the public and the government into confidence, so that they can rely on one another. And the peer review journal that I chose is called The 10 Massive Administrative Evil. This is directly correlated with the article Unmasking Administrative Evil, because it joins what is going on today with what the article described many years ago. Some of the points that the journal provided is how, depending on how bureaucracy is being ran, or how a specific organization wants to run their business, sometimes they have to put ethics aside in order to fulfill the goal of that organization. And sometimes it has to do with the pay, it has to do with the end goal, or something that has to be something that's fundamental and has to be done regardless of the method. And that's something that's, we can see that today, especially with ICE and all the immigration that's going on, where a lot of people see it as something evil, something that's should not be done, something that's wrong. But it goes back to a goal that was implemented by the president, and they're not targeting, or it's not like a targeted organization that they're specifically looking for just a certain gender or certain ethnic group. It's basically a nationwide operation whose only target is illegal immigration. And like I said, that's something that we see happening every day, where you have officers and agents, looking for certain individuals that have committed crimes and that are ordered by court to be removed from the country. But those officers and agents are fulfilling their role as a immigration officer by removing these individuals. But other people see it as something that's evil and unethical, and that's where there's a rift or a disaffection between the federal government and the people of our country.